Chapter 278 Half-Year Appointment. Being the one involved, Sinruyan started to become similarly excited. After all, this regarded a complete recovery from her long-lasting affliction. However, her expression changed from dark to bright several times. She hesitated and said while biting her red lips, "What sort of matter does Senior wish for Junior to help with? Please do not hesitate to say. As long as it doesn't violate my conscience and morality, this young woman will certainly agree." When Sinruyan said this and looked at Han Li with clear eyes, she feared Han Li would be unable to answer to her request. Seeing this woman's cautiousness, Han Li couldn't help but give a knowing smile. This reminded him of his own circumstances at the beginning of his journey of cultivation. He had also been very cautious and feared that treading the wrong path would result in his death. Fellow Taoist Sin doesn't need to be so nervous. I only want fellow Taoist to restore a formation spell. So long as you are able to restore it, I will offer you the spirit herb. Han Li soon answered with a calm expression. He didn't evade her straight gaze, but rather met it with a magnanimous gaze. After Sinruyan heard this, she was a bit skeptical. She then let out a breath and relaxed, blossoming a lovely appearance. She said, "If it is truly a matter of restoration, then it will be no problem. Ruyan will do all she can to restore it. Senior, please be at ease." The girl's originally neutral expression suddenly became a clear and bright smile. Han Li couldn't help but be stunned by the beauty of her charm. There was no need to mention that her longtime admirer, Qi Yongxiao, had long since fallen into a spell of imbecility from the smile and was incapable of waking himself. When Sinruyan saw the strangeness of Han Li's gaze, she couldn't help blush a bit more, causing her charm to become even more lovely. At this moment, Han Li hurriedly restrained his previously out-of-control mind and continued, "Truthfully speaking, although this one knows that fellow Taoistian's research into formation spells is certainly deep, I don't know if it can truly be repaired. Also, the original formation is incapable of being moved. Thus this one made a copy of its designs. I hope fellow Taoist will be able to look at the designs and repair it." With this said, Han Li took out the jade slip from his storage pouch and handed it over to Sinruyan. She immediately injected her consciousness into it with great curiosity. After examining it, she involuntarily cried out from shock, "Ancient transportation formation?" When Han Li heard her shout, the biggest worry in his heart disappeared without a trace. As expected, that transportation formation was an ancient transportation formation. Now, let's see if this woman can repair it. As Han Li thought this, he couldn't help but pay close attention to Sinruyan's facial expression, afraid that she would reveal an expression of embarrassment. After Qi Yongxiao heard the words ancient transportation formation, his face became filled with amazement, and his eyes widened from astonishment. After no less than the time it took for an incense stick to burn had passed, Sinruyan took a long stretch and eventually withdrew her consciousness from the jade slip. Then she lowered her head and entered deep contemplation for a moment before raising her elegant head, earnestly saying to Han Li, "This is a genuine ancient transportation formation. Someone at my level normally wouldn't be able to repair a completely ruined ancient transportation formation, but the damage on this formation is quite small, mainly at one small corner. Fortunately, I am familiar with this specific portion of the formation spell, having studied a few ancient formation spells. As a result, I should have a good chance to restore this ancient transportation formation." When Han Li heard those words, his naturally filled with happiness, but her following words were a devastating blow. "However, these ancient spell formations are rarely used, and my research into them isn't very deep. Thus, Senior must give me some time so I can completely restore the design of the ancient transportation formation in the jade slip." Sinruyan continued with a face of slight embarrassment. "Of course. How long does fellow Taoist Sin think it will take? I will certainly return by then." After Han Li thought for a moment, he agreed. "Even though I only studied ancient formations for a short time, half a year should be enough," Sinruyan said without the slightest of hesitation. It seemed she had come up with an estimate earlier. "That's fine. After half a year, I will come to pick up the restored design. I hope young Lady Sin will not disappoint me." When Han Li heard this, he nodded his head with a faint smile. At this moment, Han Li formally entrusted the restoration of the ancient transportation formation to this female formation spell master, Sin Ruyan. Then he spent the afternoon further chatting with Qi Yongxiao and company before bidding his farewell. Before departure, Han Li urged the two to be a bit more careful. It would be best to move farther away. After all, there would certainly be people sent to track down the killers of that group of cultivations. Since they were in the vicinity, they would truly be too easy to discover. When Han Li said this, Qi Yongxiao and Sin Ruyan took a look at each other and displayed an appearance of embarrassment. They declined to comment on Han Li's suggestion to change residence. Although Han Li felt baffled and worried, he didn't inconvenience them with further words and hurriedly flew his magic tool to the state of Yue, the capital city of the state of Yue, the renowned Yujing. Not only was it the largest city of the state of Yue, it also happened to be located at the very center of the country. Its roads led in every direction, making it the heart of the entire nation's economic trade. Naturally, the land of such a city had long been completely occupied. Not only was the price of housing several times greater than that of other cities, but there were also many individuals willing to pay this price but none willing to sell. After all, living in Yujing itself was a symbol of one's status. Also, the entire city of Yujing was divided into 4 districts: north, south, east, west. The imperial city was located in the north district. Naturally, only members of the royal family were permitted to live there. Across the city was the south district, home of bureaucrats and officials of all ranks. So long as one monotonically spent half their time on duty, they would have the qualifications to live there. If no one in a household held an official's position, that household would naturally be forced to move to another district.